Vision reminder. Above Jacob's desk is a simple handwritten sentence. His long-term vision. It's not a list, not a KPI, just the why behind all the daily grind. Because without a long-term goal, your brain becomes a dopamine junkie, chasing likes, snacks, and anything shiny. But when you give it a reason to delay gratification, the brain rewires to enjoy effort, not just outcome. This tiny reminder turns everyday effort into purpose. And purpose is rocket fuel for focus. The mental load dump. At 9:30 p.m., Jacob grabs a blank notebook and lets it all out. Not feelings, tasks, everything in his head. Meetings, shopping lists, buy socks, call dentist, start world-changing app idea. It all gets dumped onto paper in a glorious, chaotic brain unload. Why? Because your brain wasn't designed to store to-dos. It's built to solve problems, not babysit them. By writing it all down, Jacob closes the mental loop, reduces background stress, and gives himself permission to actually relax. It's like clearing your browser tabs before bed. Your mental RAM will thank you. Curiosity burst. Right before diving into a second work sprint, Jacob gives himself a 5-minute curiosity break. It's basically Googling for fun. How do whales sleep? Who invented chewing gum? Do plants communicate? 5 minutes, no expectations. Why? Because this micro-habit trains his brain to stay nimble, flexible, and open to novelty. Think of it like a warm-up for your frontal lobe. It boosts mental range and creative agility. Plus, you get to become that person at parties with weird but oddly useful facts. The 90-minute rule. Picture your brain like a high-performance laptop. Would you try running every app at once, non-stop, until the battery dies? Of course not. That's how burnout happens. Jacob gets it. Every morning, he starts with one 90-minute deep work session. No Slack, no Reddit, no checking how many people liked his breakfast photo. Just him, his brain, and the most important task of the day. Why 90 minutes? Because your brain runs in ultradian rhythms, natural waves of energy and focus that last about, 90 minutes. Push past that, and you're fighting biology. Instead, Jacob finishes his sprint, takes a 15-minute break, and then goes again. It's like working with your brain instead of against it. His productivity? Laser level. His stress? Surprisingly low. His coffee intake? Still strong, but now it's strategic. The morning walk. After Jacob finishes his first deep dive, he doesn't reward himself with a donut or more screen time. He takes a walk. No earbuds, no podcasts. Just him and the sound of birds, traffic, or maybe a neighbor's weird wind chime. This isn't a workout, it's a brain rinse. Science shows that walking, especially outdoors, activates your brain's default mode network, the system responsible for creativity, introspection, and those weirdly genius ideas you get in the shower. Plus, walking increases oxygen to the brain, reduces cortisol, and grows your hippocampus like it's training for a memory marathon. Beethoven walked. Steve Jobs held meetings while walking. If walking had a PR team, they'd be billionaires. Brain food. When lunchtime hits, Jacob doesn't cave to the call of the greasy burger. He's not trying to feel like he swallowed a brick. Instead, he opts for brain-boosting foods. Omega-3 rich salmon, antioxidant-packed blueberries, and a small square of dark chocolate. Because what's a brain without a little joy? He eats slowly, without screens, without stress, and without reading emails mid-bite. Why? Because multitasking while eating confuses your brain and gut, spikes stress hormones, and basically makes your digestive system go, "What just happened?" By tuning into his meal, Jacob gives his brain the nutrients and presence it needs to hit reset and recharge for the second half of the day. And he actually remembers what he ate. Wild, right? Digital fast. At 3 p.m., while the rest of us are neck-deep in a scroll hole, Jacob does something radical. He unplugs. No phone, no alerts, no refreshing for dopamine hits like a rat in a lab experiment. He's creating what he calls a stillness window. You see, each ping from your phone gives your brain a microdose of dopamine, and too many doses too often turns your focus into Swiss cheese. By cutting off that digital drip feed, Jacob lets his mind breathe. He creates space for deeper thinking, reflection, and actual boredom, which, shocker, is where real ideas happen. The world doesn't end when he turns off his notifications. But his brain? It starts working better. The curiosity hour. Once the workday starts winding down, Jacob doesn't flop on the couch to binge the same sitcom for the sixth time. Nope. He feeds his brain something fun, weird, and genuinely interesting. It might be a book on black holes, a random podcast about Viking rituals, or a Wikipedia deep dive on how jellyfish work. Why? Because curiosity activates the brain's reward system. It lights up the same regions as chocolate and surprise bonuses. And here's the kicker. Learning something you're curious about actually helps you remember unrelated stuff you learned around the same time. Curiosity is like mental WD-40. It keeps the brain agile, fresh, and always reaching for more. The cold shower. At 6:30 p.m., Jacob does what many would consider psychological warfare. He cranks the shower handle to Arctic blast and steps in. Why? Because cold water kicks off a brain chemical cocktail that includes norepinephrine, which boosts focus, energy, and mood. It's like a legal free version of Adderall with zero crash. Cold showers also train the brain to sit with discomfort, which builds emotional grit. Your body screams no, but your brain learns I can handle this. And when you step out, you feel like you just plugged your nervous system into an electric fence, in the best way. The sleep defense. Sleep isn't Jacob's afterthought. It's his main event. By 10 p.m., he's winding down like a pro. No screens, low lighting, calming rituals. He might read, he might journal, but he never scrolls until his eyeballs dry out. Because sleep isn't just a break from being awake. It's brain maintenance. While you're snoozing, your brain is cleaning house, flushing out toxins, organizing memories, and strengthening neural pathways like a tiny team of nighttime janitors. Miss enough sleep, and it's like trying to run cutting-edge software on a 1998 laptop. Jacob aims for 7 to 9 hours and guards that time like it's sacred. Light movement. Jacob isn't trying to crush PRs or win medals. Around 7 p.m., he simply moves. Gently. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's a walk with jazz playing in the background. Maybe it's a dance party for one in his kitchen. We don't judge. Light movement boosts BDNF, a protein that helps your brain cells grow, adapt, and talk to each other like best friends at brunch. This isn't no pain, no gain. It's low effort, high clarity. Movement isn't just about the body. It's a signal to your brain that says, hey, we're alive, we're safe, let's think clearly. The One Problem Journal. Before bed, Jacob cracks open his journal. But instead of writing about his feelings or reliving a weird interaction from 2006, he focuses on just one problem. No solutions. Just the question. It could be a work dilemma, a creative block, or a personal pickle. He outlines it, then closes the book. Why? Because your brain loves solving puzzles in your sleep. That's why people have aha moments in the shower the next day. This nightly ritual trains the brain to stay curious, not stressed, and to chew on challenges without chewing through your nerves. Silent mornings. Some days, Jacob starts the morning in absolute silence. No music, no texts, no chit-chat, just the sound of the world being quiet. Why? Because early mornings are when your prefrontal cortex, the logic part, boots up. Silence gives it room to stretch, breathe, and get online without interruption. It's like a mental buffer zone. Monks swear by it. Tesla did it. And when Jacob does it, he feels calm, focused, and one step ahead of a noisy world before most people even finish their first sip of coffee. The Teachback Trick. At night, Jacob picks something he learned that day and explains it out loud, like he's teaching a 10-year-old. Why? Because explaining something forces your brain to truly understand it. This is called the Feynman technique, and it turns reading into retention. You don't just passively absorb, you own the idea. It only takes 5 minutes, but the impact is huge. Plus, if there's a cat in the room, you've got a very polite, if slightly confused, student. Daily win. Before shutting off the lights, Jacob asks himself one question. What's one thing I did today that moved me forward? Not, did I do everything perfectly? Not, did I check all the boxes? Just, what mattered? This small nightly reflection rewires his brain to notice progress, not perfection. And over time, progress creates momentum. Momentum builds motivation. And motivation, that's how you win, even on days when nothing seems to go your way. The Iron Mindset Workout. Twice a week, Jacob hits the weights, but he's not chasing Instagram abs. He's training his mindset. Strength training teaches the brain to push through discomfort, to finish reps even when it's hard, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It sharpens focus, boosts testosterone, and increases brain-repairing chemicals like IGF-1. Jacob's not building a body. He's building mental armor. And when you treat resistance as growth, suddenly, life doesn't feel so heavy. Meditation. Every morning, before the world pulls him in 50 directions, Jacob sits. Eyes closed, back straight, just breathing. No fancy app, no chanting, just silence. Meditation isn't about emptying the mind, it's about observing it, like watching clouds float across the sky without chasing them. It builds focus, patience, and emotional awareness. Science says it literally rewires the brain. Jacob says it keeps him from yelling at emails before 10 a.m. Both are true. Gratitude journaling. At 10:45 p.m., Jacob jots down 3 things he's grateful for. Some days it's big stuff: family, health, opportunities. Other days it's found a parking spot or my socks matched. Doesn't matter. Gratitude changes what your brain sees. It trains your mind to scan for what's working instead of what's missing. And over time, that shift adds up to more joy, better sleep, and a surprisingly solid sense of optimism. Power nap. Somewhere between lunch and, please, no more emails, Jacob lies down for 20 minutes. Just a quick reboot. Power naps improve memory, boost alertness, and smooth out the emotional wrinkles that build up by midday. It's not laziness, it's strategy. A short nap can do more for your brain than a triple espresso. Think of it as giving your neurons a juice cleanse. Social interaction. Every day, Jacob talks to someone. A real someone. With eyeballs. Could be a friend, a coworker, even the barista. Why? Because humans are wired for connection. Real conversation releases oxytocin, the cuddle chemical, which reduces stress and improves verbal processing. But more than that, it keeps you human in a world that's increasingly robotic. You don't need a deep TED Talk. Just one real, honest chat can be enough to reset your brain and brighten your mood. Sunlight exposure. First thing in the morning, Jacob steps outside and lets the sunlight hit his face like nature's version of a double-shot latte. Even on cloudy days, that morning light signals his brain. It's go time. It sets his circadian rhythm, boosts serotonin, and helps him fall asleep easier at night. It's like plugging your brain into a giant natural battery. No subscription required. Just open your door.